Don't you love a tight series that is tied so well together that in a tiny problem in book one becomes the tension-fueled plot of book three? It is what I crave as a reader, but as a writer, how the heck do you create that without writing all the books first and possibly driving yourself mad on the edits and rewrites? Wouldn't it be neat if there was a simple trick so you could get writing and publishing with confidence? Well, there is, and I'm going to share it with you. If you're a fantasy author, then you've come to the right place. My name is Autumn, and together with Jesper, we've published more than 20 novels. Our aim is to use our experience to help you with writing, marketing, and selling books to fans all over the world. There are a couple of things I look for in books as a reader, and a big one is a tightly woven series where the tension keeps building and it's all tied together with not only an overall huge goal, one that you don't usually realize until at least book two, but that one where minor problems pushed aside for immediate threats bubble up to be huge plot-changing moments. Those books will keep me up all night and make me forget to eat. But as an author, especially a new one, creating that can seem like a nightmare in plotting. Creating a single book is difficult enough, but a series that flows like it was planned that way far before a single word was written is tough, especially if you don't want to write all 3, 4, or 7 books before publishing even one, or the novella, or a short story. Having this sort of big picture info is so important. And to do it, we are talking 100 pages of intricate fact-checking, right? Oh gosh, no! You should know me better than that. I like efficiency. Getting the biggest reward for the least amount of work is sort of my thing. I want to spend all of my effort on the actual writing, not the before I ever get to writing part. We are going to do this super easy, simple, and build off a few of the previous things we've covered on these videos, okay? First, let's take a look at the plot of a traditional story arc again. We first looked at this in the video creating a novel outline. Remember, this is where a fairly flat intro rises during the inciting incident to escalate through some hurdles and lulls to the high point of the climax before dropping to a less tense resolution. In the episode on creating a quick novel outline, I talked about using the 7 steps of story structure and using it to match the graph with an inciting incident, hurdles and lulls from the reaction phase, the dark night of the soul, and planning phase in the middle, and then the climax and wrap-up. Knowing that, you might think the plot of a trilogy looks something like this. This graph shows 3 books, one after the other, with the exact same tension shape as a single book, from a flat intro to a final wrap-up, and all of them equal in peak tension. In the background of this trilogy, some sort of series arc ties everything together. It makes sense, right? But it is wrong.
Why? It looks like 3 books with some overarching theme to tie them together. It is very orderly.
You would think so, Old McGrumpy. As an AI, you probably like a very clean and organized graph that resembles one input after the other exact same input. But that doesn't make an exciting series.
You just don't like logic. If this isn't an image of a series, what is it?
Well, it represents a poorly planned series, or one that is more like a TV show, where something that happened in the previous episode doesn't really impact today's show, but somehow plays into the overall season. It works, but it isn't tight plotting. I like tight plotting. We are here to talk about tight plotting.
Fine, what is a trilogy supposed to look like to a worthless human?
Ha! Glad you asked. What a trilogy really should look like is this.
Egg. Chaos.
Wait, it isn't that bad. Oh, well. Good to know that a really technical plotting can make AI run away. To make sense of this, we just need to look at the parts. Here, book 1 contains the beginning of a subplot that becomes the plot of book 2, which contains a subplot that becomes the plot of book 3. And behind it all is a series plot that weaves everything together. Plus, book 1 is exciting, but the tension really increases with book 2, while book 3 is even bigger and a complete page-turner. Not to mention, the inciting incidents for the series plot happens at the climax of book 1. In fact, you might say the climax of book 1 kicks off the realization there's a bigger problem. The climax of book 2 is actually a hurdle in the series plot, and the climax of book 3 is also the climax of the series plot. It all makes so much sense when you graph it. But I promise you, as soon as you sit down to plot out your series, it will all fall apart like I was speaking a foreign language that you were momentarily fluent in and now eludes you, because that has happened to me. Writing is a mess, and nothing is ever as simply as I just outlined. But there are steps to make all this happen. I wouldn't tell you it was possible and then not get you to the end. And the way to do this is with that 2-sentence synopsis novel theme. These are super simple and follow the lines of just needing 5 elements, like A, 1, a hero who finds himself stuck in 2, a situation from which he wants to free himself by achieving a 3, goal. However, there is a 4, villain who wants to stop him from this, and if he is successful, will cause the hero to experience a 5, disaster. To take a deeper look at that and some explanation, I'll link to a blog post at the Am Writing Fantasy website. If you haven't been over there, you should check it out. There are a lot of great resources, from workbooks to over 150 posts on writing and marketing. For writing a trilogy, you need to create 4 of these 2-sentence synopses. They would include 1, the synopsis of book 1, 2, the synopsis of book 2, 3, the synopsis of book 3, and 4, the synopsis of the entire series. The plot of book 1 will be mostly unrelated to the series. However, the climax of book 1 will reveal a larger problem, which has been slowly building through the book as a subplot. This reveal is the series theme. The end of book 1 also sets up the plot of book 2, which is usually overcoming a big hurdle needed to succeed in solving the problem of the series plot. Book 3's plot will be closely tied with the series, as at that point the characters are in the thick of trying to solve the series plot while tackling the climax of book 3 at the same time. By looking at the themes and developing the 7 steps of story structure for each book and the series, you can start to pull out the subplots that needed to grow to become the plot of the following book. Knowing the theme and the plot of the series helps you see how book 3 should develop. This will tie everything together so the books feel tightly woven even before you write them, and that's because, well, they are. It does take some time and thought, but you have all the tools to do this, and once you put it together, you know how all the books will weave together and can start to see a bit of the overall tapestry. It is really exciting. And now you aren't writing in the dark either. You have solid direction for an entire series arc, so get writing! And let me know in the comments if you are plotting a series and a bit of what it is all about. I'd love to hear. Don't forget to check out the episode on creating a quick outline for your novel. It will help with solidifying this one. Stay safe out there and see you next Monday.